Welcome to my stream. Hello,
everyone. Uh, you know what? I'm going to stop promising you guys to do anything because the last time I streamed, I said, "Oh, I'm definitely gonna stream and finish up the book this weekend." Guess what? It's Monday. Um, the truth of the matter is just every time I set something up for myself and then I have like way too much anxiety to perform it. Um, I don't understand why I feel like I'm performing because I'm just reading a book. But then I also feel like there is some kind of a performance when it comes to reading a book because you don't just read it outright, right? Like I have fun doing dialogue scenes because it's fun to like make, you know, different type of like intonation and stuff rather than just like reading it in a very monotonous way.
um, sorry, something's in my throat. I just finished my lunch, my very late lunch.
Um. Anyway, yeah, I'm never gonna promise anything anymore. You know when I look back at like how I used to do my notables is like I create a poster. Like I'll go to like like free copyright free like visuals photos place to like download a photo that fits the nature and the topic of the book that I'm reading, and then make a poster out of it. It has like a title on it, and then it has like time and date and location where I'm doing this. Um, I think it all started because of like I always call I always call her my manager at the end. But the end's not really my manager now because the end has a life outside from this game and also my streaming life. But we're still friends. Don't worry about it. Um, I think it started off because Diane was doing that for me, and then after that, after a while, she got busy with her life, and then I started doing it myself. I did enjoy doing it until I think I just had like a major burnout. If you look at the consistency that I read and like stream and posted on my YouTube channel, is that I really wish that I have all the original dates on the streams. I really should do that, but um in like 2020, the last half year of 2022 and then 2023, I was like extremely consistent. Like almost every week or every other week I'll be reading, and each week I'll read 3 times a week. um and I think it just started to get like very burnout for me to like make the poster and then post on my Twitter to announce it, hashtags, trying to get people to like, oh, what is this? Like, let's watch and see what is this, and um, then tweet out a tweet when I go live. It's always helpful when you do that, but I just don't have the mental capacity for that right now. And then after I finish reading, I would find a quote that I really like from the past chapter, from the chapters that I've read during the stream, and find yet another copyright free photo to attach with that quote, and then link my uploaded YouTube stream, um, and then tweet it out again. So basically, every time I go live, I tweet 3 times, and then I announce it on my Discord. And it just got so much. Like there's just so much to do. At some point, I mean, it's not really that much, but at the same time, I think it's just like I said, mental capacity is not all. It's not like 100%. So I just decided to give up on that. I don't do reading session to be like a It's nice if I can make money out of this, sure. I mean, who doesn't like extra money? But um, I always try to remind myself like why I started doing this in the first place is to share my reading with other people. Um, share what I'm reading with other people, and hopefully people will find reading isn't that much of a hassle after all. Like it's and it's always like I liked the feeling of like being in a community where like I can be useful to some other people, and I guess is I guess I have to remind myself every day why I do this in the first place is that I really like reading. Number one, number two, I like reading books that I like to read, and number three is just I like to share my reading with other people. That's all. That's really all of it. Um. Anyway, I don't know why I got into that in the beginning of my stream. I always spend too much time talking nonsense. Anyway, um, at first I thought that I might have like 5 chapters or 4 chapters to go through today, but when I checked, I actually have only 2 chapters left of the bell jar. Um, I should have a trigger warning probably. Um, it's good that I've read this book before I read on stream because the amount of trigger warning is really insane. Um, mm, yeah, I should put a trigger warning. It's a difficult book to read, not because it's not good. I've read West book. I didn't like. I know a lot. Okay, this is gonna be controversial because a lot of people like Lonely Castle in the Sky or something like that. The isekai one. I know a lot of people like sweet sweet bean paste. I know a lot of people like Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. Hey, I'm sorry to say, I don't like I don't like those. I read those on like I remember reading them and feeling like I cannot wait to finish reading this book. I don't know if it's a translation problem or what, but generally I think when I sit down and think about it, I don't like isekai that much. I just I there's something with Japanese authors, the recent authors, like because it's like manga gets influenced by novels but get influenced by manga gets influenced by anime gets influenced by manga gets influenced by movies. It's like like a circle, right? So I think in general Japanese writers just really like isekai, and unfortunately I'm not a big like I understand the feeling. Like, okay, I like Spirited Away. I really love Spirited Away because it's basically isekai, right? Like, she goes into a different world and then she learns things and then she comes out of it like a better person. I mean, not that she was a bad kid to begin with, right? But, you know, she definitely became a lot more like she appreciated her parents more. She, uh, and understood the power of friendship. Basically it's a very anime trope, right? Like that kind of stuff. But I'm not gonna say that. Oh, uh, the, the Ghibli Miyazaki's uh isekai Spirited Away is not good. I love that movie. That's great. That's one of the best movies ever made. But I'm just saying that most of the time it's just like a lot of like Japanese authors or writers or whatever, they just like to go into the very it's like a convenience, right? Like, oh, I don't know how to write this novel. Let's write how they go into this different place, right? there's like this one book, like the cat at the bookstore. Holy shit, I don't even remember the title of the book anymore. That's how much I don't like it. But I read them. This is why always stay to Kazuo Ishiguro. I always stay with Natsume Soseki. Like, it's because I know that I will, like, no matter how, you know, outdated you want to say their writing is. I mean, not Kazuo Ishiguro, Natsume Soseki for sure outdated, because he's literally dead in 1914. So you can say they are outdated, but I would rather eat like, sorry, not eat. I don't eat books. I read books. I rather read um, slice of life book novels uh, that Natsume Soseki writes much more than any of the new Japanese authors writing. Like, the only other writer that I like is Kanai Minato. But even that, right? I could only find two of her novels being translated. One is the 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 very famous Confession, which was really good. Like, it's so good. Book wise, movie wise, really good. Penance, not so much. Penance give me a feeling like she's trying to have like this shock factor. Uh, for like just for the sake of shock factor, she has like a lot of shock factor, like theme into the book, and not a great fan of Penance, but it's not a bad book. I think it's if you like Kanai Minato, you will like Penance. I like it, but I don't love it. I love Confession though. Um, but yeah, but okay. So, like I said, the Bell Jar is not difficult to read. It's difficult to read because, as someone who struggled with depression and unfortunately suicidal ideation, is that the suicidal musings that she has throughout the entire book is very triggering. It's very, very triggering. But I in the I but I got triggered and got out of it after my first read. That's why I was like so glad that I read it first before I read it on stream, because it's so triggering. There's so many trigger factors for any depressed person um, to read this book. But at the same time, right, you also feel like, oh, I feel very much seen. Like, I feel like I'm seen. Why? Because there's actually some other person who's going through the same thing as I do and think the same way I think about the world, about ourselves, about everyone around them, about how things work in this world. And I think The Bell Jar is a great book for people who has never had depression, who never struggled with mental health, who doesn't understand why their depressed relative, why their depressed loved ones, why their depressed family member acts the way that they do. This book explains a lot. Like, my therapist like to say that even though it seems like you're not doing anything, but you are doing a lot inside your head. That's why you are tired all the time. So I like that, like that people see, you know, what's going on inside our heads, basically. And it's a good feeling, but also very triggering. This book is extremely triggering. But anyway, I've spent like 15 minutes talking nonsense. I would like to finish up the book today. I'm sorry that I'm not reading the book yet. I feel like this book is so depressing that I'm not even gonna go and put up like a party finder on the game itself, because it is very, very triggering. And I don't like. I feel like the last time I did that, and people came in and they were quite surprised of how triggering it is. So I don't want to traumatize anyone. So anyway, let's continue. Sip tea. Today we are reading The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, Chapter 19. Chapter 19. Chapter 19. I'm going to be a psychiatrist. Joan spoke with the usual breathy enthusiasm. We were drinking apple cider in the Belsize lounge. Oh, I said dryly. That's nice. I've had a long talk with Dr. Quinn, and she thinks it's perfectly possible. Dr. Quinn was Joan's psychiatrist, a bright, shrewd, single lady, and I often thought that if I had been assigned to Dr. Quinn, I would still be in Kaplan or, more probably, Weimar. Dr. Quinn had an abstract quality that appealed to Joan, but it gave me the polar chills. Joan chattered on about egos and ids, and I turned my mind to something else, to the brown unwrapped package in my bottom drawer. I never talked about egos and ids with Dr. Nolan. I didn't know just what I talked about, really. And I'm going to leave out now. I turned in on Joan then. Where? I demanded, trying to hide my envy. Dr. Nolan said that my college would take me back for the second semester, and on her recommendation and Philomena's Guinea scholarship. But as the doctors vetoed my living with my mother in the interim, I was staying on at the asylum until the winter term began. Even so, I felt it so unfair of Joan to beat me through the gates. Where? I persisted. They're not letting you live on your own, are they? Joan had only that week been given town privileges again. Oh no, of course not. I'm living in Cambridge with Nurse Kennedy. Her roommate just got married and she needs someone to share the apartment. Cheers. I raised my apple cider glass and we clinked. In spite of my profound reservations, I thought I would always treasure Joan. It was as if we had been forced together by some overwhelming circumstance, like war or plague, and shared a world of our own. Where are you leaving? When are you leaving? On the first of the month. Nice. Joan grew wistful. You'll come visit me, won't you, Esther? Of course. But I thought, not likely. It hurts, I said. Is it supposed to hurt? Erwin didn't say anything. Then he said, sometimes it hurts. I had met Erwin on the steps of the Widener Library, and I was standing at the top of the long flight, overlooking the red brick buildings that walled the snow-filled quad, and preparing to catch the trolley back to the asylum, when a tall young man with a rather ugly and bespectacled but intelligent face came up and said, Could you please tell me the time? I glanced at my watch. 4:05. Then the man shifted his arm around the load of books he was carrying before him like a dinner tray and revealed a bony wrist. Why, you haven't watched yourself! The man looked ruefully at his watch, lifted it, and shook it by its ear. Doesn't work. He smiled engagingly. Where are you going? I was about to say, back to the asylum, but the man looked promising, so I changed my mind. Home, I said. Would you like to have some coffee first? I hesitated. I was due at the asylum for supper and I didn't want to be late, so close to being signed out there. I don't want to be late so close to being signed out of there for good. A very small cup of coffee? I decided to practice my new normal personality on this man who, in the course of my hesitations, told me his name was Erwin and that he was a very well-paid professor of mathematics. So I said, all right, and matching my stride to Erwin's, strode down the long ice-encrusted flight on his side.
It was only after seeing Erwin study that I decided to seduce him. Erwin lived in a murky, comfortable basement apartment in one of the rundown streets of Outer Cambridge and drove me there. For a beer, he said, after 3 cups of bitter coffee in a student cafe. We sat in his study on stuffed brown leather chairs, surrounded by stacks of dusty, incomprehensible books with huge formulas inset artistically on the page like poems. While I was sipping my first glass of beer, I have never really cared for cold beer in midwinter, but I accepted the glass to have something solid to hold on to. The doorbell rang. Erwin seemed embarrassed. I think it may be a lady. Erwin had a queer old world habit of calling women ladies. Fine, fine, I gestured largely. Bring her in. Erwin shook his head. You would upset her. I smiled into my amber cylinder of cold beer. The doorbell rang again with a peremptory jab. Erwin sighed and rose to answer it. The minute he disappeared, I whipped into the bathroom and, concealed behind the dirty aluminium-colored Venetian blind, watched Erwin's monkfish face appear in the door crack. A large bosomy Slavic lady in a bulky sweater of natural sheep's wool, purple slacks, high-heeled black overshoes with Persian lambs, cuffs, and a matching toque, puffed white inaudible words into the wintry air. Erwin's voice drifted back to me through the chilly hall. I'm so sorry, Olga. I'm working, Olga. No, I don't think so, Olga. All the while the lady's red mouth moved and the words translated to white smoke floated among the branches of the naked lilac by the door. Then finally, perhaps, Olga. Goodbye, Olga. I admired the immense step-like expanse of the lady's wool-clad bosom as she retreated a few inches from my eyes. Down the creaking wooden stair, a sort of Siberian bitterness on her vivid lips. I suppose you have lots and lots of affairs in Cambridge, I told Erwin cheerily, as I stuck a nail with a pin in one of Cambridge's determined French restaurants. I seem, Erwin admitted with a small, modest smile, to get on with the ladies. I picked up my empty snail shell and drank the herb green juice. I had no idea if this was proper, but after months of wholesome, dull asylum diet, I was greedy for butter. I had called up Nolan from a payphone at the restaurant and asked for permission to stay overnight in Cambridge with Joan. Of course, I had no idea whether Erwin would invite me back to his apartment after dinner or not, but I thought his dismissal of the Slavic lady, another professor's wife, looked promising. I tipped back my head and poured down a glass of Nuit Street Nuit St. George. You do like wine. Nuit. Oh, Nuit. Oh my god, I can't pronounce all these
Fancy words.
Nuit. Nuit. There's no T because it's fucking French. Okay. So I don't mean that. Okay, but I tipped back my head and poured down a glass of Nuit St. George. You do like wine, Erwin observed. Only Nuit St. John. I imagined him with dragons. Erwin reached for my hand. I felt the first man I slept with must be intelligent, so I would respect him. Erwin was a full professor at 26 and had the pale, hairless skin of a boy genius. I also needed somebody quite experienced to make up for my lack of it, and Erwin's ladies reassured me on this head. But then, to be on the safe side, I wanted somebody I didn't know and that wouldn't go on knowing, a kind of impersonal priest-like official as in the tales of tribal rites. By the end of the evening, I had no doubts about Erwin whatsoever. Ever since I learned about the corruption of Buddy Willard, my virginity weighed like a millstone around my neck. It had been of such enormous importance for me for so long that my habit was to defend it at all costs. I had been defending it for 5 years and I was sick of it. It was only as Erwin swung into his arms at the apartment and carried me, wine dazed and limp, into the pitch black bedroom that I murmured, "You know, Erwin, I thought I ought to tell you that I'm a virgin." Erwin laughed and flung me down on the bed. A few minutes later, an exclamation of surprise revealed that Erwin hadn't really believed me. And I thought how lucky it was I had started practicing birth control during the day, because in my whiny state that night I would never have bothered to perform the delicate and necessary operation. I lay, wrapped and naked, on Erwin's rough blanket, waiting for the miraculous change to make itself felt. But all I felt was a sharp, startling, bad pain. "It hurts," I said. "Is it supposed to hurt?" Erwin didn't say anything. Then he said, "Sometimes it hurts." After a while, Erwin got up and went to the bathroom, and I heard the rushing of shower water. I wasn't sure if Erwin had done what he planned to do, or if my virginity had obstructed him in some way. I wanted to ask him if I was still a virgin, but I was too unsettled. A warm liquid was seeping out between my legs. Tentatively, I reached down and touched it. When I held my hands up to the light streaming in the bathroom, my fingertip looked black. "Erwin," I said nervously, "bring me a towel." Erwin strolled back. A bath towel knotted around his waist, and he tossed me a second, smaller towel. I pushed the towel between my legs and pulled it away almost immediately. It was half black with blood. "I'm bleeding," I announced, sitting up with a start. "Oh, that often happens," Erwin reassured me. "You'll be all right." Then the stories of blood-stained bridal sheets and capsules of red ink bestowed on already deflowered brides floated back to me. I wondered how much I would bleed and lay down, nursing the towel. It occurred to me that blood was my answer. I couldn't possibly be a virgin anymore. I smiled into the dark. I felt part of a great tradition. Surreptitiously, I applied a fresh section of white towel to my wound, thinking that as soon as the bleeding stopped, I would take the late trolley back to the asylum. I wanted to brood over my new condition in the perfect place. But the towel came away black and dripping. I think I better go home," I said faintly. "Surely not so soon." "Yes, I think I better." I asked if I could borrow Erwin's towel and pack it between my thighs as a bandage. I pulled on my sweaty clothes. Erwin offered to drive me home, but I didn't see how I could let him drive me to the asylum, so I dug into my pocketbook for Joan's address. Erwin knew the street and went out to start the car. I was too worried to tell him that I was still bleeding. I kept hoping every minute that it would stop. But as Erwin drove me through the barren, snow-blank street, I felt the warm seepage let itself through the dam of the towel and my skirt and onto the car seat. As we slowed, cruising by house after lit house, I thought how fortunate it was I had not discarded my virginity while living at college or at home, where such concealment would have been impossible. Joan opened the door with an expression of glad surprise. Erwin kissed my hand and told Joan to take good care of me. I shut the door and leaned back against it, feeling the blood drain from my face in one spectacular flush. "Why, Esther," Joan said, "what on earth's the matter?" I wondered when Joan would notice the blood trickling down my legs and oozing stickily into each black patterned leather shoes. I thought I could be dying from a bullet wound, and Joan would still stare through me with her black eyes, expecting me to ask for a cup of coffee and a sandwich. "Is the nurse here?" "No, she's on night duty at Kaplan." "Good." I made a I made a little bitter grin as another soak of blood let itself through the drenched padding and started the tedious journey into my shoes. I mean, bad. You look funny, Joan said. You better get a doctor. You better get a doctor. Why? Quick. But she still hadn't noticed anything. I bent down with a brief grunt and slipped off one of my winter cracked black Bloomingdale's shoes. I held the shoes up before Joan enlarged pebbly eyes tilted it and watched her take in the stream of blood that cascaded onto the beige rug. My God! My God! What is it? I'm hemorrhaging. Joan half dragged me onto the sofa and made me lie down. Then she propped some pillows under my blood-stained feet. Then she stood back and demanded, Who was that man? For one crazy minute, I thought Joan would refuse to call a doctor until I confessed the whole story of my evening with Erwin, and that after my confession she would still refuse as a sort of punishment. But then I realized that she honestly took my explanation at face value, that my going to bed with Erwin was utterly incomprehensible to her, and his appearance was a mere prick to her pleasure at my arrival. Oh, somebody, I said with a flabby gesture of dismissal. Another pulse of blood released itself and I contracted my stomach muscles in alarm. Get a towel. Joan went out and came back almost immediately with a pile of towels and sheets. Like a prompt nurse, she peeled back my blood-wet clothes, drew a quick breath as she arrived at the original royal red towel, and applied a fresh bandage. I lay, trying to slow the beating of my heart, as every beat pushed forth another gush of blood. I remembered a worrisome course in the Victorian novel where woman after woman died palely and nobly in torrents of blood after a difficult childbirth. Perhaps Erwin had injured me in some awful, obscure way, and all the while I lay there on Joan's sofa, I was really dying. Joan pulled up an Indian hassock and began to dial down the long list of Cambridge doctors. The first number didn't answer. Joan began to explain my case to the second, which didn't answer, but then broke off and said, I see, and hung up. What's the trouble? He'll only come for regular customers and emergencies. It's Sunday. I tried to lift my arm and look at my watch, but my hand was a rock at my side and wouldn't budge. Sunday, the doctor's paradise. Doctors at country clubs, doctors at seaside, doctors at mistresses, doctors with wives, doctors in church, doctors in yachts, doctors everywhere, resolutely being people, not doctors. For God's sake, I said, tell them I am an emergency. The third number did not answer. At the fourth, the party hung up the minute Joan mentioned it was about a period. Joan began to cry. Look, Joan, I said painstakingly, call up the local hospital. Tell them that it's an emergency. They'll have to take me. Joan brightened and dialed a fifth number. The emergency service promised her a staff doctor would attend to me if I could come into the ward. Then Joan called a taxi. Joan insisting on riding with me. I collapsed the fresh padding of towel with a sort of desperation as the cabby, impressed by the address Joan gave him, cut corner after corner in the dawn-pale street and drew up a great deal of squeal of tires at the emergency ward entrance. I left Joan to pay the driver and hurried into the empty, glaringly lit room. A nurse bustled out from behind a white screen. In a few swift words, I managed to tell her the truth about my predicament before Joan came in the door, blinking and wide-eyed as a myopic owl. The emergency ward doctor strolled out then, and I climbed with the nurse's help onto the examining table. The nurse whispered to the doctor, and the doctor nodded and began unpacking the bloody toweling. I felt his fingers start to probe, and Joan stood rigid as a soldier at my side, holding my hand, for my sake or hers I couldn't tell. Ouch! I winced at a particularly bad jab. The doctor whistled. You are one in a million. What do you mean? I mean, it's one in a million it happens to like this. The doctor spoke in a low, curt voice to the nurse, and she hurried to the side table and brought back some rows of gauze and silver instrument. I can see, the doctor bent down, exactly where the trouble is coming from. But can you fix it? The doctor laughed. I can fix it all right. I was roused by a tap on my door. It was past midnight and the asylum quiet as death. I couldn't imagine who would still be up. Come in. I switched on the bedside light. The door clicked open and Dr. Queen's brisk dark head appeared in the crack. I looked at her with surprise because although I knew who she was and often passed her with a brief nod in the asylum hall, I never spoke to her at all. Now she said, Miss Greenwood, may I come in a minute? I nodded. Dr. Queen stepped into the room, shutting the door quietly behind her. She was wearing one of her navy blue immaculate suits with a plain snow-white blouse showing the V of the neck. I'm so sorry to bother you, Miss Greenwood, and especially at this time of the night, but I thought you might be able to help us out about Joan. For a minute, I wondered if Dr. Quinn was going to blame me for Joan's return to the asylum. I still wasn't sure how much Joan knew after our trip to the emergency ward, but a few days later she had come back to live in Belle's Eyes, retaining, however, the freest of town privileges. I'll do what I can, I told Dr. Quinn. Dr. Quinn sat down on the edge of my bed with a grave face. We would like to find out where Joan is. We thought you might have an idea. Suddenly, I wanted to dissociate myself from Joan completely. I don't know, I said coldly. Isn't she in her room? It was well after Belle's Eyes curfew hour. No, Joan had a permit to go to a movie in the town this evening, and she's not back yet. Who was she with? She was alone. Dr. Quinn paused. Have you any idea where she might be likely to spend the night? Surely she'll be back. Something must have held her up. But I didn't see what could have held Joan up in the tame night of Boston. Dr. Quinn shook her head. The last trolley went by an hour ago. Maybe she'll come back by taxi. Dr. Quinn sighed. Have you tried the Kennedy girl? I went on. Where Joan used to live? Dr. Quinn nodded. Her family? Oh, she would never go there. But we have tried them too. Dr. Quinn lingered a minute as if she could sniff out some clue in the still room. Then I said, well, we'll do what we can, and left. I turned out the light and tried to drop back to sleep, but Joan's face floated before me, bodiless and smiling, like the face of a Cheshire cat. I even thought I heard her voice, rustling and hushing through the dark, but then I realized that it was only the night wind in the asylum trees. Another tap woke me in the frost-gray dawn. This time, I opened the door myself. Facing me was Dr. Quinn. She stood at attention, like a frail drill sergeant, but her outlines seemed curiously smudged. I thought you should know, Dr. Quinn said. Joan has been found. Dr. Quinn's uses of passive slowed my blood. Where? In the woods, by the frozen ponds. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. One of the orderlies found her, Dr. Quinn continued, just now, coming to work. She's not dead, said Dr. Quinn. I'm afraid she has hanged herself. That was chapter 19. I told you. There will be trigger warning. Okay, chapter 20 is the last chapter and it's about 9 pages long, so it's not gonna be super long. So let's get through it, okay? We are currently reading the last chapter of Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar, chapter 20. Chapter 20. A fresh fall of snow blanketed the asylum grounds. Not a Christmas sprinkle, but a man-high January deluge. The sort of the sort that snuffs out schools and offices and churches and leaves for a day or more. A pure blank sheet in a place of memo pads, date books, and calendars. In a week, if I pass my interview with the board of doctors, Philomena Guinea's large black car would drive me west and deposit me at the wrought iron gates of my college. The heart of winter, Massachusetts would be sunk in a marble calm. I pictured snowflakey Grandma Moss's villages, and the reaches of swampland rattling with dried cattails, the pond where frogs and hornpouts dream in a shift of ice and the shivering woods. But under the deceptively clean and level slate of the topography was the same, and instead of San Francisco or Europe or Mars, I would be learning the old landscape, brook and hill and tree. In one way, it seemed a small thing, starting after a 6 months lapse, where I had so vehemently left off. Everybody would know about me, of course. Dr. Nolan had said quite bluntly that a lot of people would treat me gingerly or even avoid me, like a leaper with a warning bell. My mother's face floated to mine, a pale, reproachful moon, at her last and first visit to the asylum since my 20th birthday. A daughter in the asylum! I had done that to her. Still, she had obviously decided to forgive me. "We'll take up where we left off, Esther," she had said, with her sweet martyr smile. "We'll act as if all this were a bad dream." A bad dream. To the person in the bell jar, blank and stopped as a dead baby, the world itself is the bad dream. A bad dream. I remembered everything. I remembered the cadavers and Doreen and the story of the fig tree and Marco's diamond and the sailor on the common and Dr. Gordon's wall-eyed nurse and the broken thermometers and the negro with the 2 kinds of beads and 20 pounds I gained on insulin, the rock that bulged between the sky and the sea like a grey skull. Maybe forgetfulness, like a kind of snow, should numb and cover them. But they were a part of me. They were my landscape. "I meant to see you." The smiling snow-capped nurse poked her head in through the door, and for a confused second, I thought I really was back in college, and this spruce white furniture, this white view over trees and hills, and an improvement on my old room's naked chairs and desk and outlook over the bald quad. "A man to see you," the girl on the watch had said on the dormitory phone. What was there about us in Belle's eyes so different from the girls playing bridge and gossiping and studying in the college to which I would return to? Those girls, too, sat under the bell jars of a sort. "Come in," I called, and Buddy Willard, khaki cap in hand, stepped into the room. "Well, Buddy," I said. "Well, Esther." We stood there looking at each other. I waited for a touch of emotion, the faintest glow. Nothing but a great amiable boredom. Buddy's khaki jacketed shape, seemed small and unrelated to me as the brown post he had stood against that day a year ago at the bottom of the ski run. How did you get here? I asked finally. Mother's car. In all this snow? Well, Buddy grinned. I'm stuck outside in the drift. The hill was too much for me. Is there any place I can borrow a shovel? We can get a shovel from one of the groundsmen. Good. Buddy turned to go. Wait, I'll come and help you. Buddy looked at me then, and in his eyes I saw a flicker of strangeness, the same compound of curiosity and wariness I had seen in the eyes of the Christian Scientist and my old English teacher and the Unitarian minister who used to visit me. Oh, Buddy, I laughed. I'm all right. Oh, I know, Esther, Buddy said hastily. It's you who ought to dig out cars, Buddy, not me. And Buddy did let me do most of the work. The car had skidded on the glassy hill up the asylum and backed, with one wheel over the rim of the drive, into a steep drift. The sun emerged from its grey shrouds of cloud, shone with a summer brilliance on the untouched slopes. Pausing in my work to overlook that pristine expanse, I felt the same profound thrill it gives me to see trees and grassland and waist high under the floodwater, as if the usual order of the world had shifted slightly and entered a new phase. I was grateful for the car and the snowdrift. It kept Buddy from asking me what I knew he was going to ask, and what he finally did ask in a low, nervous voice at the Belzai's afternoon tea. Didi was eyeing us like an envious cat over the rim of her teacup. After Joan's death, Didi had moved to Weimar for a while, but now she was among us once more. I've been wondering. Buddy set his cups in a saucer with an awkward clatter. What have you been wondering? I've been wondering, I thought you might be able to tell me something. Buddy met my eyes, and I saw for the first time how he had changed. Instead of the old sure smile that flashed on easily and frequently as a photographer's bout, his face was grave, even tentative, the face of a man who often does not get what he wants. I'll tell you if I can, Buddy. Do you think there's something in me that drives women crazy? I couldn't help myself. I burst out laughing, maybe because of the seriousness of Buddy's face and the common meaning of the word crazy in a sentence like that. I mean, Buddy pushed on. I dated Joan, and then you, and then first you went, and then Joan. With one finger, I nudged a cake crumb into a drop of wet brown tea. Of course you didn't do it, I heard Dr. Nolan say. I had came to her about Joan, and it was the only time I remember her sounding angry. Nobody did it! She did it! And then Dr. Nolan told me how the best of psychiatrists had suicides among their patients, and how they, if anybody, should be held responsible, but how they, on the contrary, do not hold themselves responsible. You had nothing to do with us, Buddy. You sure? Absolutely. Well, Buddy breathed. I'm glad of that. Then he drained his tea like a tonic medicine. I hear that you're leaving us. I fell into step beside Valerie in the little nurse-supervised group. Only if the doctors say yes. I have my interview tomorrow. The packed snow creaked underfoot, and everywhere I could hear a musical trickle and drip as the moon's sun thawed icicles and snow crust that would glaze again before nightfall. The shadows of the masked black pines were lavender in the bright light, and I walked with Valerie for a while down the familiar labyrinth of shoveled asylum paths. Doctors, nurses, and patients passing on adjoining paths seemed to be moving on casters, cut off at the waist by the piled snow. Interviews, Valerie snorted. They are nothing. If they're going to let you out, they'll let you out. I hope so. In front of Kaplan, I say goodbye to Valerie's calm, snow maiden face behind which so little bad or good could happen and walk on alone. My breath coming in white puffs even in that sun-filled air. Valerie's last cheerful cry had been, "So long! Be seeing you!" Not if I know it, I thought, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure at all. How did I know that someday at college, in Europe, somewhere, anywhere, the bell jar with its stifling distortions wouldn't descend again? And hadn't Buddy said, as if to revenge himself for my digging out of the car and having to stand by, "I wonder who you'll marry now, Esther?" "What?" I had said, shoveling snow up to a mound, blinking against the stinging back shower of loose flakes. "I wonder who you'll marry now, Esther, now you've been." And Buddy's gesture encompassed the hill, the pines, and the severe, snow-gabbled buildings breaking up the rolling landscape. "Here," he said. And of course I didn't know who would marry me now that I had been where I had been. I didn't know at all. "I have a bill here, Erwin." I spoke quietly into the mouthpiece of the asylum payphone in the main hall of the administration building. At first, I suspected the operator at her switchboard might be listening, but she just went on plugging and unplugging her little tubes without batting an eye. "Yes," Erwin said. "It's a bill for $20 for emergency attention on a certain date in December, and a checkup a week thereafter." "Yes," Erwin said. "The doctor says they'll be sending me the bill because there was no answer to the bill they sent you." All right. I'm writing a check now. I'm writing them a blank check." Erwin's voice altered subtly. "When am I going to see you?" "Do you really want to know?" "Very much." "Never," I said, and hung up with a resolute click. I wondered briefly if Erwin would send his check to the hospital after that, and then I thought, of course he will. He's a mathematics professor. He won't want to leave any loose ends. I felt unaccountably weak-kneed and relieved. Erwin's voice had meant nothing to me. This was the first time since our meeting and last meeting that I had spoken with him, and I was reasonably sure it would be the last. Erwin had absolutely no way of getting in touch with me except by going to Nurse Kennedy's flat, and after Joan's death, Nurse Kennedy had moved somewhere else and left no trace. I was perfectly free. Joan's parents invited me to the funeral. I had been, Mrs. Gilling said, one of Joan's best friends. "You don't have to go, you know," Dr. Nolan told me. "You can always write and say that it would be better not to." "I'll go," I said, and I did go. And all during the simple funeral service I wondered what I thought I was burying. At the altar, the coffin loomed in its snow pallor of flowers, the black shadow of something that wasn't there. The faces in the pews around me were waxen with candlelight and pine boughs left over from Christmas, sent up sepulchral incense in the cold air. Beside me, Jodie's cheeks bloomed like good apples, and here and there in the congregation I recognized other faces of other girls in the college and my hometown who had known Joan. Dee Dee and Nurse Kennedy in bent their kerchiefs heads in the front pew. Then, behind the coffin and the flowers, and the face of minister and the faces of the mourners, I saw the rolling lawns of our town cemetery, knee deep in snow now, with the tombstones rising out of it like smokeless chimneys. There would be a black, 6 foot deep gap hacked in the hard ground. That snow would marry this shadow, and the peculiar yellowish soil of our locality seal the wound in the whiteness. And yet, another snowfall erased the traces of newness in Joan's grave. I took a deep breath and listened to the old brag of my heart. I am, I am, I am. The doctors were having their weekly board meeting. Old business, new business, admissions, dismissals, and interviews. Leafing blindly through a tatty National Geographic in the asylum library, I waited my turn. Patients with accompanying nurses made their rounds of stock shelves, conversing in low tones with the asylum librarian, an alumna of the asylum herself, glancing at her myopic spinsterish effice. I wondered how she knew she had really graduated at all, and unlike her clients, was whole and well. Don't be scared, Dr. Nolan said. I'll be there, and the rest of the doctors, and some visitors, and Dr. Vining, the head of all doctors, will ask you a few questions and then you can go. But in spite of Dr. Nolan's reassurance, I was scared to death. I had hoped at my departure I would feel sure and knowledgeable about everything that lay ahead. After all, I had been analyzed. Instead, all I could see were question marks. I kept shooting impatient glances at the closed boardroom door. My stocking seams were straight, my black shoes cracked but polished, and my red wool suit flamboyant as my plans. Something new. But I wasn't getting married. There ought, I thought, to be a ritual for being born twice, patched, rethreaded, and approved for the road. I was trying to think of an appropriate one when Dr. Nolan appeared from nowhere and touched me on the shoulder. All right, Esther. I rose and followed her to the open door. Pausing for a brief breath, on the threshold I saw the silver-haired doctor who had told me about the rivers and the pilgrims on my first day, and the pocked cadaverous face of Miss Hui, and eyes I thought I had recognized over white mask. The eyes and faces all turned themselves towards me, and guiding myself by them, as by a magical thread, I stepped into the room. And that is the end of chapter 20, the last chapter of the Bell Jar. Well, I know nobody is here, but you know, for the sake of the people who's watching on my YouTube, what do you guys think about this book? Tell me all about it. What do you guys think about all the characters in it? What do you think about Esther, which is basically Sylvia Plath? And if you guys don't know already, um, Sylvia never really gotten out. I mean, maybe there were some days, there were years when she was doing good, but at the end of it, she's not. She's still extremely depressed. I don't know whether it's like a combination of just her own combination of her already existing depression plus postnatal depression, she has two kids, like successively, like very like in very close in age, and then she has a super extremely asshole of a cheating husband. So um she was not, she wasn't a unsuccessful person. She's extremely successful. She went to a good college. She graduated, like seriously, like she has like full Cambridge uni with like full with like scholarship. When where when she's there, she met her husband, who is a cheating bastard and also the executor of her estate, who makes a lot of money out of her after her death. But oh, I'm the I can recognize you even without opening my, yeah. Have a seat. Well, let's talk about the book. Let's dissect the book a little bit. Let's discuss about the book, since we have the stream is extremely short. It's only 1 hour long. Come to my my stream chat and talk. Let's talk about this. So, spoiler alert. I think she did well. Like she finished her studies. She married a guy. She has two kids. But I think the depression never, the bell jar never really opened up for her. That's the thing with depression though. It's like it sometimes it feels like it's gone. But this I think people who are depressed are cursed with self-awareness. It's very sad. It's very sad. I do think that people with depression do are extremely cursed with self-awareness, and the amount of self-awareness that she has is that's what's killing her. I was just talking about like this book with like Z, um with Twisty, about like how, you know, when this book came out, right, it wasn't taken well. Like people are like just feeling like, oh my god, this girl is so full of herself and that kind of thing. And it was released under a pseudonym, not her real name. And only years later, she released it like she released it, and after it got published a few months later, she off herself. And the way she off herself is very creative, in my opinion. I don't know. I've never heard anyone offing themselves like that. But I think it only works with like a 1950 oven. But basically, she was in the she was in UK at the time. Basically already migrated there because her husband, who's an asshole, is a Britishman, and then she has the two kids there and everything. I mean, even her tombstone is there. So I don't know if it's like just the feeling like, okay. So first of all, right, when you read this book, all I can tell you is that I think she is a child free person. She only wants to have kids because society expectation of what a woman should be. This is 1950. That she grows up in like 1950s, and and she passed away in 1963. She's only 30 years old when she died. But she's a very accomplished writer and poet by that time. Yeah. She wrote this, I feel like she wrote this book just to like, kind of like, she said that she wanted to write this book to let go of her past. I completely understand that. I think I completely understand that intention. But I also think that she wanted to write this book to record down what she has been through, but in an autobiographical way, but also change the names because she doesn't want to get like certain people like targeted or involved. But then everyone who said that they wrote, when they like, everyone who knows her, who wrote the book, know exactly who she's talking about the entire time. So
So some friends at the asylum and some friends in college were like, wow, I didn't know that you look at me that way. I didn't know that you didn't like me. Like that kind of like reaction that she got. But it's like in a couple of months after it got published, she off herself like very quickly. She was going through a very hard time at the time. She just had two kids. They were like barely toddlers, and when you are a mother to toddlers, to two toddlers, I don't think you're having a good time for sure. And then at the same time, she found that her husband has been cheating on her for like a while. And yeah, I just felt like maybe she felt really trapped, because I feel like she never really wanted children, because of everything that she wrote in this book, right? Is that I want to be everything. Like the fig tree story about how, you know why do we need to choose only one branch of the tree? Why can't we be the whole tree itself? Why can't I have everything? Why can't I be like a successful writer at the same time also like a person who has my own opinion and a husband and have children? But I feel like the whole husband and like husband, sure, but she's definitely someone who lack of love in her life. The only person that I feel like love her with no expectation of her is her father, but he died when she was 9 years old, and her mother doesn't really give her unconditional love. Like literally towards the end, it's like, oh, you're finally out of this asylum after 6 months. We're just gonna treat this as a bad dream, dude. This is like exactly what like some people in my life tell me, is that your trauma doesn't matter. It's just a bad dream. Just forget about it. Just don't think about it. Your trauma is nothing. Just don't think about your trauma. If you guys want to know what I've been struggling with, that's what I've been struggling with. Is having gone through traumas and grief, and then having people around you telling you that just don't think about it. Okay, you know what? I shouldn't be laughing. The other day I was like saying this kind of thing with my therapist, and he very stern. I've never experienced it, but he very sternly just look at me and say, "Don't laugh. Don't laugh. It's not funny. Don't laugh it off." He's not saying it is like, you know, like his intention is, don't laugh about your how other people treat you. Don't laugh at how badly other people treat you. Don't laugh it off. It's not right that they say that kind of thing to you. It's not right that they do that kind of thing to you. You don't laugh it off. But I'm so used to just like trying my best to like ha ha ha, you know. My family members tells me to don't think about my trauma. Is it? It's like automatically it's just laugh because I don't know how to deal with it. So I have a lot to learn despite being in therapy for like fucking years. But you know what? It's okay. Small steps, little footsteps, right? So I think towards the end of her life, she was really trapped. She's trapped in a marriage that she didn't imagine she would be trapped in. She's trapped in the fact that her husband didn't love her as much as she thought they love each other. I don't know, right? Like, why are you cheating on me with another woman? And then she's trapped with the fact that she's in a house with two toddlers. Can you imagine? In a house with two toddlers? I can. I mean, I don't have it, but that's a big reason why I'm child free now. Is because when I was a kid, my mom was a babysitter, and oh my god, I don't like. It's just hell. I don't like it. I was being asked to like take care of like kids when I was a kid myself, so I don't like it. Didn't like it. Don't care for kids. Definitely, 100%. Um, and yeah, I think a woman in the 50s is like a very sad thing, because they'll tell you things like, oh, why are you studying so hard for? You're just gonna get married and get and have children and be a housewife, right? Like the whole threat wife bullshit that's happening now. Like I don't understand why people want to go back to that time. I don't understand. Like why are we not happy with what we have now, which is like freedom to be ourselves. Like people who are like into the threat wife thing, they have no idea. Women who are into the threat wife thing, they have no idea how things are really are. Things are really is in during the 50s and the 60s. I mean, fantasy world that they are in. Yeah. I yeah. Anyway, yeah, when I say creative way to off yourself, that's a pretty creative way. She kept her children upstairs, I think in their bedroom. They're probably sleeping as well in the morning. Then she went to the kitchen, closed the door, covered the kitchen with like any crevices of the door or the window. She covered it all with like with what you call it, towels. And then she opened the oven, rest her head inside the oven. I mean, she didn't burn herself, but basically, the source of carbon monoxide was like the most potent inside the oven. So she just switched on the oven, and she just inhale until she died, and that's how she off herself. That's the trigger warning. Great way. Like that's basically same way how some people like off themselves in their cars, right? Pipe from the back, exhaust. Sounds like a great way to die. Actually, you basically just fall asleep. Really, yeah, yeah. See, this book is bad for me, man. This book is really bad for me, man. You're not even kidding. I'm so happy. This is why I'm finishing it today, so I can go to therapy tomorrow and talk about it. I mean, I've already read it once. It was very difficult. It was very difficult to read it. And a lot of the things that she went through with people like dismissing her mental health, her mother especially. And it's the weirdest thing, right, is that you would think that family members are the ones who will be supporting you in everything you do. I guess healthy family members, I would say. But usually the people who closest to you don't really understand what's going on with you, and they would try to like make things better, but they actually don't. They really don't know how to make things better for you. All they can tell you, like, it's the same thing that everyone's like. I can imagine in her world and in many other people's, like depressed people's world, is that they are going through the motion of trying to stay alive every day, but then the people around them is like, why are you so depressed? You have everything in this world. You don't have to worry about this and everything. There are like worse people out there. There are people who are dying out there, Kim. Like the like it's just that kind of mentality that other people are like imposing on you when you are depressed, and you think to yourself, do you think that I want to be like this? Do you guys like serious, like I want to sit down and ask, like, do you guys really think that I choose to be depressed? Because that sometimes that's how it sounds like to me. It's like, do you guys really think that I choose to be depressed? That's, yeah, I think that's how I generally feel. Not understanding how depression is, what depression is not the problem. The the lack of wanting to understand is the problem, right? They don't come here and ask you how do you feel. They come to you and ask you, are you better today? Are you good enough now already so that you can do whatever we want you to do? You know? There's so much. It's very sad, but there's so much masking when it comes to like depressed people or people with bipolar, or anyone who has to not just like this subset of like mentally ill people, but it's also like how ADHD people or autistic people has to mask themselves from like other people to make sure that they won't question their intelligence or their capability or ability to do things. There's so much masking. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day as well. Is that I think I saw like a post that they reposted on Instagram or whatever, and then I was so touched by that post. I was just very affected by the post because it was like, you know how some people like to like post on Thread or Twitter, and then the post get like screenshotted and then reposted on Instagram. It's fucking weird social media stuff. Cause I am totally not in, like, I don't even know why I still have a Twitter account. No, and I'm never gonna call it X because it's stupid. But anyway, like, there's someone that tweeted that say, like, the best thing a therapist ever told me is that, quote, "You're not lazy, you only have a certain amount of energy, and right now you're using it all to survive." Which is basically what my therapist told me the other day, because okay, this is what I wrote, right? I said I go to my therapist every week, and every week he'll ask me, "How have you been past week?" And I always say, "I'm tired or exhausted." And immediately I caught myself saying that when I haven't done much at all. Therefore, I really shouldn't be feeling tired at all. This is basically me trying to, like, you see, like I said, like, depressed people are cursed with self-awareness. If I don't have the self-awareness, right, I'll just say I'm tired. That's all, it will end there. But no, depressed people will just go around it to, like, invalidate their own tiredness. That's it's hell. We don't choose to get stuck in this loop of mindset. We don't choose it, it just happens, right? Like I said, I wish I don't have self-awareness so I can be happier. So then so yeah, like, I'm like, I didn't do much, so I don't understand why I'm so, like, tired. Like, I literally don't do anything. And then he'll ask me, it's like, "Hey, run me through what you do in a day." And then I'll go down, like, the list of things, like, oh, I drag myself out of bed because I didn't sleep until 5 a.m. last night because of insomnia. And then when I'm able to sleep, I can't wake up, so I have to drag myself out of bed, and then I have to go make a cup of coffee, and then I have to make sure that I sit at my desk and then try to read a book, and then I try to do as many stuff as possible until it's time to sleep again, and try to go and sleep again. I'll do everything that I can do in my everyday life just to not think about the very enticing, nice, wide window in in my apartment, or the full bottle of pills that's in my drawer. Basically, just distracting myself from neither nor, right? And then my therapist said that that's a lot that you are doing. Others don't see it, but I do. I reckon that people cannot do what you do, so don't discount your everyday effort in staying alive in this world. That made me. That probably. I think I cried so much when I heard that. Like, okay, like, like, I've been having problem with, like, people in my family just thinking that my therapist is here to cheat money. He's a scammer. He's here to just take from me and not give me anything. That's why I'm still there and I'm still not cured. That's what they all think, that.
you can just be cured from your trauma and your mental health crisis just by talking, I guess. I don't know what they expect from my therapist, but yeah, not great. So, reading this book is difficult. Yeah, you know, she goes through the motion of like, oh, should I drown myself? Should I cut myself? Should I hang myself? Should I, like, and then she attempted with the full pill of sleeping, full bottle of sleeping pill, which I do have. Because I have insomnia. And lately it's been quite difficult to sleep, even with my insomnia medication. So it's been difficult. I'm not gonna lie. There's a reason why I disappear for months and months on end. The only constant that I told myself to give myself is okay, get yourself in a static to rate so that you have something to do, and then you have something to look forward to, and you have something that can like make your brain, you know, oil up your brain, you know, to keep it moving instead of like getting still and like just consuming rubbish on the internet, right? But yeah, it's a crazy book. It's a good book. It's not the greatest book, but it's a good book. Like I said, great book for people who knows nothing about depression and then wants to understand what depression is. I'm just sad that her life ended at 30 when she has so much potential, and I'm so angry for her because while she was separated from her husband at that time, she passed away before they got divorced, so he became the sole executor of her estate, and then he just went on publishing all her shit without, like, this is a woman who is an extreme perfectionist. I'm pretty sure that she doesn't just want to like publish everything that she wrote. I'm pretty sure that she would like criticize her own work so much that it would take forever for her to like publish anything. But this fucking husband just publish everything that he can publish to get the money out of her. I mean, he's an accomplished writer himself, so I don't know why he has to do this. But the worst part is not just publishing. The worst part is not publishing like her poems. The worst part is publishing her journals, like literally her diaries. And then this asshole was such an asshole that he destroyed the last 6 months of her diaries, her journal. Because obviously, during the last 6 months of her life, she was going through the worst of the worst of the worst of her depression and apparently bipolar too. And that they I'm pretty sure she wrote some scathing stuff about him, and he doesn't want to get it published because, oh, I'm a perfect man. So obviously, whatever she says is just wrong. So I'm going to destroy all these journals. Even her children didn't get to see the journals of the last 6 months of their life. But like I said, I also suspect that she doesn't want to have children, so there might be some truth in what he says. Is that I don't want our children to read what she wrote in the last 6 months of her life, because I have a feeling that she might also have some scathing thing to write about her children. Not that it's the children's fault, but imagine that you are in a marriage, you're trapped in a marriage, in another across the pond, as they say, right? And either way, you don't have the support of your own family either, right? Even if you're close at home, her mother is a piece of shit as well. So she
probably has a lot of thoughts about these two kids that she had with her cheating husband. So I'm pretty sure she wrote some really, really horrible shit. But at the same time, who gave him the fucking right to destroy her journals? And also, who gave him the fucking, like, just because it's law doesn't mean that you can do it, right? Like, why did you? I hate it. Like, people can argue the same thing about, like, oh, they published Anne Frank's diary. It's not the same. Okay? It's not the same. The reason why Otto Frank published his daughter's diaries is because he wanted people to know how the Holocaust was from the eyes of a teenager, like how it affects children at that time, and also how true and real and like suffocating and suffering of being in the Holocaust was. And Otto Frank was the only survivor of the family. Imagine the pain and suffering and grief that he has to go through. And I think releasing, publishing Anne Frank's diary is a good decision. However, publishing and releasing the journals of Sylvia Plath is not, because she's a person of her own. I don't think people should do this. Publish other people's diary for money. It's not right, in my opinion. Like, unless in her suicide note, which she didn't have a suicide note, says that, oh, please publish my diaries, by the way, after I died. I'm pretty sure in hell to earth, like, she would not say that. This is Sylvia Plath you're talking about, you know? And the fucking bitch of a mother that she has also published, like, letters that she sent to and fro from with her daughter. These people, I hate them, man. I really hate them. They don't think of anything but to make money out of a dead person, their dead daughter and their dead wife. That's all. It's disgusting, in my opinion. I hate it. It's like, how can you read the bell jar? How can you finish reading the bell jar and then think that, yeah, sure, she surely would love it for me to publish all of her diaries, as all of her unedited poems and also all of her diaries. It's like, what? I hate these people. I hate the like people like her, people who love Sylvia Plath, like, made sure to, like, go to her grave and trying to, like, destroy, because on her gravestone, the tombstone, this fucking husband of hers, estranged husband of hers, put her name down as Sylvia Plath Hughes. His name is Ted Hughes. I can't read English, man, bro. Ted Hughes. I guess it's Hughes. The G is silent, probably. I don't know. This guy, fucking, like, they would, the fucking Sylvia Plath lovers, like, will go and destroy his surname from her tombstone. That's how much they hate this guy. And the worst thing is, know what happened after her death? So because he was having an affair with this woman, also quite an intellect, but like a writer as well, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I have zero respect towards her, because why are you doing this? Like, why are you like, going for, like, a married man, that kind of stuff. So she moved, like, immediately after Sylvia died. He moved her into the house and make her take care of their young children, like Sylvia and his young children. So this stepmom just, like, not he didn't even marry her. He just moved her into the house where Sylvia died, make her raise their children, and then not long after, she has her own daughter. And then when her daughter was around, like, 4 years old or something, she found out that he's cheating on her with someone else while not marrying her. Like, so this is called karma. I'm sorry to say. I'm an asshole, but I'm sorry to say, this is called karma. Like, you think that, going with a married man is going to make the married man leave the wife for you and then marry you. Ha 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 ha. That didn't happen because if I think if Sylvia never killed herself, uh, Ted will never leave her. Yeah, they're just gonna like be separated or something, you know. And also Sylvia will be the one who filed a divorce for sure because she's the strong woman that she is. I don't care what people say about people who kill themselves, selfish or weak or whatever. No, I think Sylvia is a very, very strong person. I think she's especially brave for what she did, really. You know how much courage it takes to kill yourself? It takes a lot. That's why I'm the coward here. I'm still here. Anyway, so she, this woman, I've forgotten what's her name. Let's call her A. Has her own daughter while she's raising Sylvia's kids, and then found out that oh, Ted is cheating on her with some other person. So she became very, very, like, very, very sad. And you know what she did? She killed herself in the same kitchen that Sylvia killed herself. But you know what's worse? She killed her own daughter too. Same way Sylvia killed herself, the carbon monoxide poisoning, in the same kitchen with the towels and everything. Same way. I think that's her way to say sorry to Sylvia, probably. But if you want to say sorry to Sylvia, do it yourself. Don't drag your 4-year-old daughter into this. I think she was 4-year-old. Yeah. And then this fucking Ted asshole went on to marry the next mistress that he has, I think. So I don't know what he didn't see in the second mistress that he thinks that I don't want to marry her. But that definitely kills her, like literally. And then Sylvia's 2 children grew up well, a daughter and a son. But her son also fucking off himself in his 50s due to depression. This is okay. Number one, there's a lot of factors coming into this, right? Factor one is that you grow up without your own mother. Factor two is that nobody really knows how the so-called fake stepmom raised them. Hopefully with love, because the eldest daughter seems to be fine. Sylvia's daughter seems to be fine. Factor number three is that you have an asshole of a father, cheating father, probably doesn't care about the kids that much because he's too busy out there cheating on everyone. And factor four, which I think is the most prevalent, is generational trauma. And five is generational, like probably inherited depression, inherited mental illness. And this is why kids don't just have kids for the sake of having kids. Don't have kids because you think that it's a milestone. Because you have to think about a lot of things, right? Like, even if you are like completely mentally healthy, you have to look into your upper generation, like your mother, your father, your grandmother, your like paternal grandmother, your paternal grandfather, your maternal grandmother, your maternal grandfather, and then the generation and generation above, like their history of like suicides, the history of like what should I call it, mental illnesses, right? We can't just look at like oh, what's your medical history, as in like physical medical history, like do you have diabetes, because diabetes can be inherited to the next generation. You can't just talk about like, oh, this family has like history of like heart attacks, like oh, yeah, sure, you can't, like, sure, you have to talk about these things, right? But you also have to talk about the mental side of it, like does your side of the family has you know people who are like not mentally very well. Because when I look at my maternal and paternal history, is that both sides have people who are not mentally well. Like there's like some side of them that are like druggies, you know. So I think people really really need to sit down and think like, oh, let's have kids, right? But let's talk about why we want these kids. Is it because it's just a milestone that you want to hit in your life? Or, I don't know, or you really want kids and you want to have kids, you know? Like, or like the stupidest, I hate the one that is like, oh, if you don't have kids, then how, when you're old, who's gonna take care of you? Fuck off. Just save money and move yourself into a fucking asylum or something, like old folks home or whatever. Like, or hire a nurse. Like, fuck, like, just don't. Why are people so selfish? That's what I'm thinking. Like, why are we creating little humans to take care of you in the future? I'll never understand that. I think I'll never understand it because I don't come from a family that like love each other. Like, I don't come from a background that love is a thing, or unconditional love is a thing. It's always conditional. And even when it's conditional, it's not true love. It's very sad. Here I am laughing about it again. Yeah. I can hear my therapist's voice is like, stop laughing at your trauma. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty sad, right? I think it's pretty sad. Um, yeah, and I also discussed this like, I wonder if Sylvia would be a much, 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 much better, happier person if she was born in our time, not the modern time, and not in the 50s. Not like, she was born in 1932, but she grew up in like 40s and 50s and with like a single mother. I mean, single mother is like so common nowadays that it doesn't really matter anymore. But um, I think she'll be happier, and she definitely will be like child free for sure. She'll be a lot more sure that I don't want to have kids than having to feel like, oh, I'm in my mid 20s, I'm going to be in my late 30s, and I'm still not married. Oh, okay, I'm married now. Now the next step is to have children, because that's what everyone does, is to have children after you get married. Oh, I have children now. What do I do now? I'll just be a housewife, because that's what everyone does, right? In the 50s, it's like milestones that is not set by herself, but set by the society for her as a woman. So I just feel like if she's born in our decades, she might be happier. But at the same time, if she still have the same kind of mother, probably not. Yeah. Mm. People underestimate how much um, damage a bad mother or bad father does to a kid as they grow up, because they don't have the moral, not moral compass, they don't have the right compass for like a familial, like the love, familial love compass to follow. Like, I've seen people who grew up in lovely happy family where the parents love each other and have never seen a day where the parents yell at each other or cold war between parents. Like people who came from like absolutely healthy family, I'm always jealous of them because I feel like, wow, I wish I get to experience that. I wish I get to experience that at least like for the first 10 years of my life or something like that. So I could at least have a happy childhood. You know what I mean? But the unfortunate truth is that people get married for the wrong reasons and have children for the the absolutely worst reasons. And I hope people would give it a lot more thought when it comes to getting married to the people, the right person. There's never really right person, right? Now, how do you tell who's the right person to get married to or be with? There's no there's no right answer to that. I don't think so. Because people change all the time. But people change not because they want to change, right? Because it's like that's just the nature of life that people like people okay, there's two type of people, right? One is that they don't care enough to learn new things in life, therefore they become stagnant, therefore they don't grow up, quote unquote. So people like I've experienced this kind of people, like people who got married to someone when they are in their 20s, and then the woman grow up in a sense of like, oh, she's become more ambitious in life, she's like curious in learning, she wants to learn more about, you know, her the learn more about life and also her career, she wants to improve her career, she's ambitious. And then the husband is like, I'm happy just making, like, you know, this amount of money for the rest of my life. I'm fine with that. Not ambitious and not curious in learning. Like doesn't really care about society stuff. Like if you ask them, it's like, oh, do like do you know the difference between North and South Korea? And they're like, oh, I thought they are the same. You know, like that kind of people. You get what I mean? Trust me, I know that kind of people. um, and and then they have to resort to divorce because the wife is not satisfied with, like, how can my husband be so stupid, like, you know, have no interest in societal problems, you know, no ambition in his career, like he's just happy just doing absolutely minimum what's for life, but he's happy. So he's not wrong. There are some people who can live like that, and I don't disagree with how they live their life. I mean, you know, like as like in like most people say, like ignorance is bliss, right? The more you learn, the more unhappy you are, because it's like everyone is, I don't know, too self-aware is very depressing. Basically, too aware and too self-aware is very depressing. So what? Absolutely no zero self-aware people are the happiest, and oh, I'm happy for them if they want to live that way. Sure, yeah. But when they got married, they were about the same, and then he just stopped. He just become like stunted, and then in their 30s, she's like, I want to have better career. And then by the time when they were about to get a divorce, is the biggest reason is that this man who doesn't have much ambition to further his career is unhappy that his wife is furthering her career and making more money than him. Like this is just like pure misogyny, right? Like, aren't you supposed to be happy that your wife is making more money for the family? Or like be proud of her, like, wow, my wife is so smart, man, like, you know, she's so good at this, you know. But no, he has to be so unhappy that how come you have changed, in his opinion, that you have changed, therefore we should divorce. But in her opinion is that you never grow up, you are still a baby even though you're in your 30s. I don't want to live with a man child forever. So they both have their point of views. I mean, obviously as a woman I'll pick the woman's side, right? But at the same time I would say that if he wants to live his life that way, go ahead, it's fine. There's no, like, you know, if that makes him happy, do whatever you want. But he cannot make other people live with him like that. So it's a great thing to have a divorce at the time. So back to how do you know who is the right person you're supposed to be with in your life? I don't know. I have no answer to that. I don't think anyone have an absolute answer to that, to be honest. Also, I don't know why I'm babbling so much. Absolutely no reason to talk so much about absolutely nothing on my own. Yeah, I feel for Sylvia. I really do. The way the way she the way she described depression is like it's so sad. Like mm, where is okay. Oh wow, I did write some I did highlight some things down. Okay. Okay, so this is a quote, a couple of paragraphs in chapter 11, right? So she said that she wore the same clothes for 3 weeks, and she hasn't washed her hair for 3 weeks, and that she hasn't slept for 7 nights. Okay, it's gonna sound disgusting, but I've done that at my worst days, and I don't wish that to happen to anyone. Right? I really don't wish for any. I really don't wish for it to happen to anyone. Like every time I talk about depressing stuff, right? I always say I hope nobody will understand how I feel. I hope nobody will understand how I feel because this is the worst way to live. And I hope nobody understand how I feel. But at the same time, I wish that they could understand a little bit of it so that they can understand what we go through. But at the same time, no, I wish that they don't because it's so painful. So she said, the reason I hadn't washed my clothes or my hair was because it seemed so silly. I saw the days of the year stretching ahead, like a series of bright white boxes, and separating one box from another was sleep, like a black shade. Only for me, the long perspective of shades that set off one box from the next had suddenly snapped up, and I couldn't see day after day after day glaring ahead of me like a wide, broad, indefinitely desolate avenue. It seemed so silly to wash one day when I would only have to wash again the next. It made me tired just to think of it. I wanted to do everything once and for all and be through with it. That's so perfect in explaining why depressed people find it very, very difficult to go wash themselves or to get out of bed, wash their hair or shower, all those things. This is exactly how I feel. I mean, I I wash myself every day, okay, but during the worst days, I just couldn't do any of this. I think in April, I lay in bed for like 3 weeks straight, and I only get up to eat or something like that. Yeah, I even had to tell my static that I can't rate because it was so bleak at that time. So yeah, yeah, I wish, I wish people understand, but I also wish that they don't because it's too painful. And then there's this line that is like quite dark, that she was running out of all her savings um, from her work because she spent most of it just on bus trips here and there like trying to like find a purpose in her life. And then she just say, I had decided that when there was no more money in my bank account, I would do it. I said the exact same thing to myself and to my therapist. It's depressing. I'm not gonna lie. It's exactly what I'm thinking. Um, and yeah, that's the scary part, that I'm still thinking the same way. It's not going away. The, the, the scary part about having suicidal thoughts is that once you have it, right, it doesn't go, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays there and haunt you in your dreams, in your sleep, in your waking moments, in your eating moments, in your whatever like just it's there. It's just haunts you. And I don't know how to get out of it. It's very hard to get out of it. But it's been like this for like a couple of years now, so I don't know. You can only pray that I don't run out of money, I guess. And then I like this sentence that I also highlighted. I also hate people to ask cheerfully how you are when they know you are feeling like hell and expect you to say, fine. Yeah. Sylvia, I feel you. Sylvia. Another one is, I wanted to tell her that if only something were wrong with my body, it would be fine. I would rather have anything wrong with my body than something wrong with my head. Yep. Same, 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 same. Sylvia, same, same. Like last year when I had pneumonia and I was in the hospital for like 7 days. That was hell. But in the end, I'm cured of pneumonia. But I walked out with worse depression. Why, if you ask? Because I was hoping that the pneumonia will kill me. Then I don't have to think about ways to kill myself. This dream is dark, bro. I have to be honest, though. I feel. And this one, oh my god, I love this one. So I told him I believe in hell and that certain people like me have to live in hell before they died to make up for missing out on it after death because they didn't believe in life after death and what each person believed happened to him when he died. Do you understand this sentence? This is amazing. This is super amazing. I love this sentence so much. Like if you were to dissect it, basically she's saying that, okay, I'm a person who don't believe in life after death because I think that when you die, you just die. You're just a dead body. There's no such thing as soul or whatever, right? You don't go to life after death, or you don't go to reincarnation. You don't go to heaven. You don't go to hell. You don't go to like haunt the middle ground, right? You just die because you die when you die. So there's nothing after that. But because all this like Christian people, he keeps like going to them and trying to like tell them that, oh, you know, just believe in God, pray, that kind of stuff, like just the kind of people that harassing her. So she's just like telling them like what she thinks, what is happening to her right now is that we are now going through hell, this current hell, which is depression and whatever mental illness that we are going through, is the hell that we are going through because we don't believe in afterlife, and we have to go through this hell right now while we are still alive because we don't believe in afterlife. So it has to happen right now when we are living. It's insane. I don't know, like I don't know how she come up with it. I mean, she didn't come up with it. I think it's just the way she thinks. And the way she thinks amazes me to no end. Absolutely no end. I'm amazed by how she writes all the time. Anyway, I think there's more that I was supposed to like uh highlight, but I did not. I wish that I did. I don't know. Okay. This one. I love this one that we read just now about her mom just telling her, "We'll take up where we left off, Esther. We'll act as if this is all a bad dream. A bad dream. To the person in the bell jar, blank and stop as a dead baby. The world itself is the bad dream. I remembered everything." Maybe forgetfulness, like a kind of snow, should numb and cover them. But they were part of me, they were my landscape. That was so good. I love what she wrote. She is crazy good. I don't know. I wouldn't say like, oh, this book changed my life or anything. Not really. It's more like this book understand me. If that makes sense. This book makes me feel like I'm seen by a dead person. There's so many things that this book that she went through, I also went through, but I'm not gonna explain too much what I went through. But if you read the whole book, you understand what I meant, what I went through. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah. Sad-ish. Sad-ish. I okay. I'm just gonna end this with, I hope nobody has to go through all of these things. But if you don't understand what depression is, bipolar is, mental health crisis is, please read this book. It will make you understand why we think the way we think, we see things the way we see, we hear things the way we hear, we suffer in the way we suffer. It's not by choice. None of it is our choice. We never asked for it. It literally, there's, you cannot run around and say, I wish I have depression. There's no such thing as that. It just happened. And that's what makes it sad, is that we have no hands in having what we have. However, listen, if you're going through depression, if you're going through major depressive disorder, bipolar, just general anxiety about leaving, I see you, I hear you, I understand you, I know what you're going through. However, just by knowing what you have does not mean that you should stew in it and let yourself rot. The best thing that you can do for yourself, not just to get out of the situation, because truth be told, as someone who has been suffering for many, many years, is that truth be told, you can never really, really, really get out of it at all, 100%. The best you can do maybe about 80%, you know? You're up there 80% and you're feeling good. You're feeling like you are in your skin. You can do things properly. You are well enough to mask the depressing 20% from everyone else, right? But don't stew in it. Don't let yourself drown in it. It's easy to let yourself drown in it, and I've done that myself, and sometimes I'm still going through myself. But the best thing you can do is seek help. Whether it's a psychiatric help or psychology help, it's your choice. You have to make a decision to help yourself. The worst thing that I've seen people done or do, is stewing in their own pain and suffering and then trying to drag other people into it. That's not right. Absolutely not right. Or that they wallows in their own sorrows to the point that it's become self-victimization, that they can't see anything beyond I am a victim. I'm the victim of everything in this world. Everyone's against me. I can't do anything right. You can do something right. You can go seek help. Get some help. Can somebody have I should have the I really should have the Michael Jordan get some. Stop it. Get some help meme into my Banana Points reward, but I'll think about that. Get some help. It's okay to get some help. It's okay to go seek help. It's okay to say that I need help. Can you help me? It's okay to say I accept your help. Please help me. I don't know what to do anymore. Please help me. It's okay to do that. It's okay to tell people that you need help. It's okay to accept other people's suggestions, or like, I know the one thing that I hate the most is go exercise, it'll make you feel better. I hate that. But you know what? Every time I go to yoga class and I come out of it, I feel better. So there's some truth to it, right? It just generally get more active and you'll be okay. You'll be not okay. You'll be slightly better. But I'm like, it's not saying like, oh, go exercise, it will cure you from depression. No, no such thing. Or take these 8 pills a day, it will cure you from depression. No. The 8 pills a day is probably just going to help you to function like a normal person. If you compare to like if you don't take the 8 pills a day, I mean, I'm not saying it has to be 8 pills a day, I'm just giving an example. Compared to like having medication and no medication, I'm pretty sure that you can tell that having medication is helping in some way or another. Going to see a therapist, let your thoughts out, talk to them, get help, ask them, what can I do in this situation? How can I react in this situation? Did I reacted very badly? You have a very, like, okay, they are not going to be unbiased because they are your therapist and they are always on your side. So what you can do best is try to paint a very, very fair picture of what's going on and try your best to not just make yourself sound like you are the only victim in this fucking world, because it's not like that. Life is not like that. Honestly, everyone is a victim in this life. No, because because none of us asked to be born. We are just being forced to born into this world. We don't choose to live. We're being forced to live. So it's that's the depressing truth. But some people handle it better. Some people love life. Some people doesn't, and it's fine. We find things to try to live for, right? One at a time. But the most important thing is just I'm not just saying like asking for mental health, right? Mental health help, right? I'm also telling you to be open to getting help in every way possible. You know, if you're carrying 10 books in your arms and one of them fall, and instead of like, trying to scramble around and trying to get that one book with your feet, like accept the help from a passerby and say, hey, can you help me to get that book on the floor? You get what I mean? It's like, don't think of yourself as like bothering other people or like inconveniencing other people. I think it's very important to accept help in every way possible, physically, mentally, especially mentally. I think in our society we still have this huge stigma of people not wanting to get or seek mental health help because they are so afraid of what other people think of them. Oh, what if, my colleague found out that I'm seeing a psychiatrist, they think that I'm crazy? What if they find out that I'm seeing a therapist, they'll think that I'm weak, you know, I'm being conned. Stuff like that, basically. I think there's a huge stigma there still, and I'm being surrounded by that stigma, and I hate it. I hate it a lot, but I can't do anything about it. And I want to do something about it, but I can't do anything about it. And it frustrates me so that no matter how much I explain to them, that I, I do not feel like I'm wasting money going to see my therapist every week because he helps me to regulate my emotions. He helps me to understand things myself better, which is insane because when you think about it, he knows me so much better than I know myself, to the point that he can teach me how to understand myself better, which is insane when you think about it. That's the reason. There's a reason why they spend all those money to become what they are, and they spend all those time doing research to understand people better, right? And I feel like the normies, I'm sorry to call you guys normies, the normies out there who look at a therapist or a psychologist and think that they are just like, cuckoo, like, they just there to like, make money off crazy people. You're entitled to what you think, and I can never change your mind, even though it frustrates me so to hear it. But I know for a fact that if you already think of something that way, I can never change your mind. Therefore, I'm going to give up on you. That's all. But if you would like to open your mind a little bit and hear what a therapist can do for you, feel free to talk to me. To go do more research. Go get a therapist yourself and find out for yourself what they do for you, what they can do for you. And I am a very, 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 very secluded and alone person. I don't really have a lot of people to talk to. I don't really have friends or family who understand what I go through. And I've tried, and I cannot make them understand what I'm going through. Therefore, I have a therapist because he's open-minded enough to understand what I'm going through and understand enough about mental health to understand what I'm going through, and can also give me the tools to work on how I can survive the world without trying to think of the very nice big window in my room or the bottle of pills full of sleeping pills. So Seek help if you need to. Don't rebuke. Don't rebuke help. There are plenty of resources out there. I feel like I'm talking to myself. I feel like I'm talking to myself. I really do feel like I'm talking to myself. It's difficult when you're struggling, right? But sometimes talking to yourself is good. Helps yourself understand yourself better. You know, your inner monologue person inside you. There's someone inside you. There's someone inside you that. There's someone inside you that will listen to you, and then we'll try to find a way to like solve problems together. So you're alone, but you're not entirely alone. Wow, I sound absolutely insane. I think I should stop now. So, I'm sorry for being so depressing. Don't mean to. I don't mean to be like that. I'm trying. But yeah, Sylvia Plath, The Bell Jar, guys. It is a hell of a book. It's an insane hell of a book. I I hope more people read it. I'll end the stream, okay, with a with three paragraphs from chapter 15. Okay. And I'll send you all off with it. Alright? I knew I should be grateful to Mrs. Guinea, only I couldn't feel a thing. If Mrs. Guinea had given me a ticket to Europe or a round the world cruise, it wouldn't have made one scrap of difference to me, because wherever I sat on the deck of a ship or at a street cafe in Paris or Bangkok, I would be sitting under the same glass bell jar, stewing in my own sour air. Blue sky opened its dome above the river, and the river was dotted with sails. I read it myself, but immediately my mother and my brother each laid one hand on a door handle. The tires hummed briefly over the grill of the bridge. Water, sails, blue sky, and suspended gulls flashed by like an improbable postcard, and we were across. I sank back in the grey plush seat and closed my eyes. The air of the bell jar wadded round me, and I couldn't stir. And that is the end of the stream. I'm sorry for being a bummer. It's a very difficult and triggering topic and book to read. I think people need to be more open to getting help, and just try your best, utmost best, to find a reason to leave. Like I just feel like I'm talking to myself right now. Anyway, thank you, Ando. I know you're there. Thank you so much for listening to me rambling about stuff that doesn't really matter. Trigger warning. I will put a proper trigger warning in my YouTube videos. But yeah, I'll be back soonish. There's not much people here, so I can't really do a poll or anything. But I think I'm going to read a Kazuo Ishiguro book next, or a Soseki book. I'm not entirely sure. Probably Kazuo Ishiguro, but I might get a little bit busier soon. I'm not sure when, so I won't be able to like stream around this time. Maybe I can. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I'll try to find a proper
I'll try to figure it out one way or another. I really want to start reading again. So yeah, I'll see you guys soonish. If you want to learn more about Sylvia Plath, go on and read about her on her Wikipedia page. And I hope that you guys learn something from this book one way or another. Yeah, 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 yeah. Anyway, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Let's end with a better and nicer tone. I'm gonna read a basho. I'm gonna send you off with a basho haiku. And I'm going to find a nice one that is not depressing one because it's depressing enough. Is it's still summer now, right? It's super hot and I wish that our weather is not this humid. Hot is fine. Humidity is horrible. Okay, this one. Written in summer 1694. Okay. 松杉を褒めてや風の香る音 Are these praises of the pine and the cedar? The scents on the wind. Oh yeah, the title of the haiku is The Ogura Mountain Temple. 松杉を褒めてや風の香る音 Are these the praises of the pine and the cedar? The scents on the wind. Summer 1694. The Ogura Mountain Temple refers to Jojakoji at the foot of the Ogurayama in Saga, Kyoto. It is known as the site of the villa of the famous waka poet Fujiwara no Teika, and in the temple precincts there were an old pine that the Shigure no Matsu said to have been planted by him and about which he composed a poem. He is also said to have edited the famous anthology Ogura Hyakunin issue here. 松杉を褒めてや風の香る音 Are these the praises of pine and the cedar, the scents on the wind? That sounds so good. I want to travel again. I hope one day I can. Yeah, feel free. Feel free to hang out. Don't worry. Don't worry. You guys can always come and AFK at my house anytime you want. Seriously. Like, I didn't build, like, this place for no one to see. There is a library behind the wall, so you can literally go in there and, like, take screenshots and stuff, like G posts and stuff. But anyway, that was a very nice haiku to end with, and I'm very happy with that. I don't want to be too depressing. I'm sorry. I am very depressing, but anyway, thank you very much for listening today. Wherever, if you are from during the live stream, or if you watch this on my YouTube channel, I thank you for stopping by and also listening to me read. I'm sorry for being a bummer, but I am a very very open person who likes to like share my struggles in mental health. So I hope you guys can feel related somehow, and maybe you guys can talk to me about it next time if you guys are here. But yeah, I'm gonna try this now. Is that I know most people don't make it to the end of the video, so it might not bother anyone at all. But if you make it to the end of this video, which is a very long video, it was supposed to be a very short one, but it turns out to be so long because I babbled for so long. But anyway, if you make it to the end of this video, I would like you to click the bell button and click the subscribe button if you can. I feel awkward saying that. I'm trying to do an experiment here because everyone said that always helps. But then maybe I should say that in the beginning. But I don't really like doing that because I hate it. I hate it when YouTubers do that, so I don't do that. It's see, too much self awareness is not good. Anyways, thank you for watching, listening, everything. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Or listening in from YouTube. In the future, near future. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye bye. Have a good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I love you guys for listening to me. It, you guys are the best.